Hello, welcome to the Oklahoma lecture about the power of a Broadway revival. Um, so, we've talked about Oklahoma a little bit. It's a classic. Um, it was super important, as I mentioned in the Dust Off Your Tap Shoes lecture. Oklahoma was super important for fully integrating all the parts of a musical equally. The music, the lyrics, the dancing, everything was used to develop the characters or the plot. So musical theater was never the same after Oklahoma. Um, you might know a little bit about Oklahoma. It has some pretty famous songs. Oh, What a Beautiful Morning. Do you know that song? Oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day. That's from Oklahoma. Plus a very famous song called Oklahoma. Um, Oklahoma, where the wind. I don't actually know the words to that one. Um, Truth be told, I am not a huge Oklahoma fan. In fact, if you were asking me about the original production of Oklahoma, I hate it. But with the power of a revival production, I can tell you this. It is possible to love the musical Oklahoma because I actually went almost on a dare to see the 2019 Broadway revival of Oklahoma because I heard it was so good that you just had to see it. And I was like, guys, I hate Oklahoma. I cannot see this show. And my friend said, no, 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 no. This is not Oklahoma. You have to see this. And I saw it and I loved it. So, y'all, join me in why I loved it. Okay, so story wise, Oklahoma can seem pretty simple. It's about a girl named Lori who's at the center of a love triangle. Curly, who is this cocky cowboy who wants her, but so does Judd, an emotionally disturbed farmhand, who's not from these parts. He's an outsider. There's also a side story about a girl who, gosh darn it, just can't say no when boys want to kiss her. And in the original, she's pretty much portrayed as easy. And that's a nice way of putting it. The 1940s, right? So, why remake this kind of corny, classic musical? Well, in 2019 on Broadway, a director named Daniel Fish decided to remake this. And that's what a revival is. It's just someone who decides to remake. Now, sometimes people call it a revival, but really it's just like it's the same production. You know, it looks just like the original. They're just like, oh, I want to do this production again on Broadway and like make a lot of money, and I'm going to give everyone what they want to see. A lot of people go to see Oklahoma because they want to see the original. They want to see it exactly the way it's supposed to. I'm doing air quotes here. Supposed to look, right? But a true revival is something that really does something different and unique and makes you look at the show in a whole new light. And that's what Daniel Fish did with the 2019 revival of Oklahoma. He didn't change the script at all. But just with directing it with a new focus on certain aspects of the show, plus new kinds of lighting and a different kind of set and a different kind of costume design, director Daniel Fish really draws attention to a way less rosy Oklahoma. He points out the crazy sexism that's going on. He gives agency and power to Ado Annie, that character, that girl who just can't say no. Plus, he casts an actress who's in a wheelchair as that character, and that was pretty cool. Um, he plays up the rampant gun culture of Oklahoma and draws a lot of attention to it throughout the play. which was really fascinating. He basically darkens up the messages of the whole show. It's really like you're watching a completely different Oklahoma. Plus, they played around with the musical arrangements, and the music, in my opinion, is way more enjoyable. They kept it very country because I don't know that you could pull off Oklahoma without it having a country feel. Um, but I don't know. It's a much more kind of like modernized, enjoyable sound to it. Honestly, y'all, I could do a whole 2 weeks on just the concept of what this revival does. But you have stuff to do. I gave you a big assignment with that musical theater study guide, and I want you to be working on that. So I just want you to kind of look at a few clips from the original versus the 2019 revival, just for comparison, because I just want you to see how different a revival production can be and how powerful and cool that can be to have that kind of vision and say, you know what, Oklahoma's been done this way for decades and decades and decades, but I'm going to do a production of Oklahoma and I'm going to do it this way, and it's going to be like looking at a whole new show. Mind blown. All right, so first up on the next slide, I'm showing you 2 clips of the same song. The first one on the left-hand side of the slide is the original, and then on the right-hand side is the 2019 revival. It's the same song. It's called "People Will Say We're in Love." It's Lori and Curly, the cocky cowboy. Notice in the revival that there is also racially diverse casting as well. Lori in the revival is played by a black woman. So while I would watch the original first and then watch the revival, I think it'll kind of blow your mind how different it feels. Also, I think you'll notice it's no wonder the revival got this huge nickname in the Broadway community. Everyone nicknamed it Sexy Oklahoma, and I think you'll see why. All right, check those out, and I'll catch you on the flip side.